Hi, everyone. I'm Apollonia Ponti. I am your dating and relationship coach, and I'm joined in this wonderful, wonderful video with my dear friend and relationship coach herself, and you've probably seen her as well. Her name is Renne Slansky. Hi, Renne.
Hi, it's nice to do this with you finally.
I know, I'm so happy. And this is a really big requested video I get from a lot of my clients and just comments on my YouTube channel. And so I was just thinking, who would be more perfect than to do this video with another woman herself? So I'm so happy about this video. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what is a high quality woman, how to attract a high quality woman. And I think this is so significant, especially so we can help these men identify the healthy relationships, the healthy patterns, healthy women that are out there, because a lot of times in my practice, we're so focused on the not so healthy women are out there. And I'm really passionate about this, and I want to be able to help men and direct them towards this. So let's get right into it.
Absolutely. I think it was one of the videos that actually I had a couple of guys request that as well. And I think you're right. We put so much focus on who to avoid that we're not actually putting energy into who to actually attract, and we become too focused on, oh, that's a red flag, that's a red flag, that's a red flag. And then the guys just go, well, show me what's not a red flag. Just kind of give it to me black and white. So I think for men out there, you know, you want to know that you're investing into a woman who's also going to invest back into you. We're in a time and age where, because we have access to so many different people in front of us because of dating apps and online dating, you know, it becomes really confusing who is actually worth it and who is just, you know, maybe playing the game and then not really showing their default character until later on down the track, which I think for men is a pretty big fear, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm sure your clients would agree, like the last thing they want to do is, you know, do all this work, finally commit to a woman and work out that she's not really the sort of woman that they originally thought she was, or that she changed later on down the track. So I think it's a fair point, because I know that females out there are definitely wanting to attract a high value man. And so rightfully so, a lot of men are wanting to attract this high value woman. So if we've got these two groups wanting each other, why is there this divide? And how can we minimize it and match these people together?
Yes, amen. I love that. Exactly. And I think a lot of that comes down to the world that we're living in today, right? So like feminism, it's such a big thing right now. And what a lot of women, like my friends, people I know a lot of women that, you know, they have direction, they are leaders in their life and their business, but they also appreciate a man. And that is a big part. And the women that are right now, probably, and I hear it so much, that are right now, it's like, I don't need a man, I don't need this, I don't need that from this man, are the women that necessarily, one, they need to grow, and two, is what I tell men is like, we've got to understand, as far as if the woman is in front of you, does she appreciate a man, right? So this is what brings the essence of a relationship. This brings the essence of how you go into the courting period, how you guys talk, how you guys communicate, and things like that. And paying attention to if a woman does respect a man. So let's give our viewers a little bit tips first in regards to how you can really understand if a woman appreciates the masculinity and a woman appreciates a man in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best indication of anyone's character, which is what essentially you're looking for when you're dating someone, you want to make sure that you, I guess, can respect their character, because their character is, you know, a snapshot of who they are. And the best way to know what their character and their intentions are is purely through consistency. You know, what do they do repetitively? You know, in different circumstances, over time, in different scenarios, how do they respond to you when you don't give them exactly what it is that they want all the time? That's going to give you a little bit more of an idea of where they're headed and where their mindset is. For example, I was jumping on a podcast this morning and we were talking about, which is something that is 100% true out there, how much, because of the role reversal and the time that we're in right now, self-entitlement has crept into women's nature. Because I'm a woman, I'm entitled to this. Because I'm a woman, you should do this, you should do this. And men are just basically getting fed up. And unfortunately, it's labeling those high value women who are out there as in the same pool as those ones that are self-entitled. It's just like, you know, how some women say, oh, you know, all men are assholes, which is completely unfair. You know, at the same time, we can't go and label all women as self-entitled, or all women as gold diggers, or all women just wanting babies and commitment, when there are women out there who know how to bring value and who want to bring value because they understand that a relationship is about a team. It's not just about self. And one of the things that a woman who isn't high value will do is she will objectify a man. And what I mean by that is she will look at a man and she'll be like, I have to tick having marriage and children off my list. And so instead of the relationship becoming about, I need him, I want him for who he is to add value to my life and so that I can add value to his life, they're like, marriage babies, marriage babies. And then when they have that, the man, they're fulfilled in that part of the relationship because that was their main reason for it, but the man isn't. And then he wonders why he's been neglected, why he's not really getting the joy out of marriage, which he thought he would. And then he becomes tainted. And so I find that, you know, we have to really be careful as we move into this time where we can't put, as I said, all women in the same sort of basket. It's about understanding, as you know, as a dating coach, that dating, whilst it shouldn't be a full-on numbers game of trial and error, there's still going to be some sort of numbers involved where you're going to have to sift through who actually is high value and who only has selfish intention, or who's just not emotionally mature enough to be able to be a high value woman. And I think sometimes we want people to be at this certain level, and it's not that they don't want to be, sometimes they're incapable of it. And that's why dating, like the dating phase is so important, because it gives you an opportunity to get to know someone's character over time. It gives you an opportunity to work out whether or not you're truly compatible and what their default character is. And I take my hats off to men, because I find that, you know, men handle dating differently. They don't become as emotionally involved early on. So they give themselves more time to be able to step back and actually assess a woman's character, which I think is the right way to go about it, personally.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And also too, you know, I always talk about how it's not that let's just say you and I are single, right? And we're dating and relationship coaches. It's not that we won't date a man that is not high quality, and it's not that we will date one, but what is the difference is we can attract the same thing. I can attract a non-high quality man, or if I was a man, a non-high quality woman. But it's the fact that we get good at saying, okay, this is not the right match, or this is the right match, right? And that's what, you know, frustrates a lot of people, because they're like, I keep on attracting this type of woman. I keep on attracting this type of woman. And then I ask them, well, how much time did you invest? And when did that red flag start? And typically it's like, well, she said this to me, that she wasn't ready for a relationship on our first or second date.
I know. Look, it's something that I've just recently talking about on my socials, is there's only two reasons why you're single, and it's either you're dating the wrong person again and again and again, or you're doing something wrong in those relationships. And I've had so many men comment on my YouTube as well saying, I don't get it, I've been ghosted 15 times. You know, and that just blows my mind. And clearly, I mean, you know, it's a part of psychology understanding as well, that whatever you've been subjected to, your brain is familiar with, and your brain will gravitate towards that. So if you're a man who's only ever dated toxic women who are self-entitled, who are greedy, who are selfish, who are fake, or whatever it is that you've experienced, your brain will instinctively start to look for that, even if you don't want it to. Why? Because it's certainty. And your brain wants to know what is certain to minimize risk, because then that makes a lot easier. We're wired to do what's easy. And so if you aren't aware of what a healthy standard is and what a high value actually woman looks like, and you're able to identify the characteristics by the way that she talks, speaks, reacts, all of that, then your brain will just automatically do what you've programmed to do it. And what you're constantly feeding it, which is this need to be able to prove to yourself that you can find someone, but you're trying to find something in someone who's incapable of actually giving it to you.
Right. Because it's like something that you're familiar with. Like you said, you're comfortable with it. So subconsciously you go back to what you're comfortable with. So if you were a man or a woman that was seeking approval from a mother or father their whole life, you're going to be gravitating towards women that you're seeking their approval. So the wrong women. And also I call it too energy, right? So we attract our energetic field.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing too is what we talk about, and this is for our viewers, is you always hear me saying videos. In order to attract that healthy, sustainable relationship, it takes work. And a lot of us go into life and we put all this work into our business, getting this 6-figure salary, or having this perfect body, and being a healthy lifestyle, having a healthy lifestyle, or being a professional skydiver. You know, I have 2 clients that do that. That's why it comes to mind. But that took work. You know, you had to overcome fears. You had to say no to a Snickers bar if you wanted to be healthy. You know, it takes work. And what I'm alluding to here is people forget that relationships and love take work. We think because we're born, we're naturally inherited to love and relationships, when it's not the truth. And you can have love and relationships and sex and meaningless relationships easily by not putting in the work. But when it comes to meaningful relationships and marriage, it takes work. And I always say the work starts when you start to get in the relationship too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something that you do, you know, it's like communication. It's not something you do 6 months down the track when all the red flags start to pop up. It's about understanding if you're able to communicate your value from the first date, you're also more likely to be able to weed out the ones who aren't ready to step up to your level as well. And I think men, you know, and women need to understand that going on a date with somebody and building a relationship with somebody is something that takes time. It takes patience, grace, space, and it takes discipline, like you said, because it's about controlling your decisions. It's about controlling your mindset to go, okay, even though I feel like doing this, even though I feel like engaging in maybe a relationship which I know is not going to go anywhere, it's easier to do that, to engage in it, because you have that attention from somebody rather than having the discipline to say no. As you said, like, you will attract 2 types of people. You're going to attract someone that just wants, you know, their own selfish intentions, their casual hookup, they don't want anything serious. And then you're going to attract the high value people. Now, if you're not able to recognize the difference between the two, if you've only ever experienced the wrong attention, then that's what you'll start to just always continue to engage in. So it's a combination of obviously being educated on being able to identify what a high value woman looks like. I think it's also a combination of understanding what would a high value woman be attracted to, okay? Because it's not just about going out and trying to find the perfect partner. It's about yourself becoming the sort of ideal partner that automatically attracts that into your life, which makes it so much easier than going out there and seeking it. And then it means if both of you understand your value and how to communicate your value, then you're more likely to be on the same page when it comes to communication and actually making that relationship work. And I think that's what true compatibility comes down to. And that's why relationships last over time, because compatibility isn't based on feelings and it's not based on that surface level stuff. It's based on 2 people understanding what it takes to keep a relationship alive as it starts to evolve and people change over the process, and also how to continue to keep their own identity alive in that relationship as well.
Huge identity alive. Exactly. That is huge. So that is significant. And I want to give our viewers some tips too, about like how to identify a high quality woman and what high quality women look for. I think we can end it there with this in the video, but one of the biggest things I see too, and I know this will speak so highly to so many of our viewers, is a lot of times men in general, because this is what I work with, will have all of this pressure to go out with this woman because she's just so beautiful physically and externally, right? And they're like, I've never had a woman like this before. And then they lose their authenticity, right, in the process, because they put so much effort because of the outside. But I'm like, and I ask them, so why are you so attracted to this woman? Well, it's all the physical, right? It's all the physical in the beginning, and it's natural. But at the same time, what is so important here is to understand that to be able to focus on what is reality and what is the story that I'm making up in my head. Because this is how, 1, you're going to calm the nerves down. And also 2, you're going to see the qualities, be able to ask the right questions to see if it's the right fit. Because a lot of times we get distracted by the exterior, the superficial or the exterior things, right? So that, of course, is important. I'm not saying, of course, not to have a beautiful woman, because that is obviously attractive, but don't put so much effort on that. So that's one of the biggest things I see. So let's talk about the tips that we can talk about like what a high quality woman is.
I think a high quality woman is somebody who obviously, for me, I think one of the biggest things that men need is affirmation. And I think a high quality woman understands that it's not just about, communicating who she is. It's also about affirming who he is. giving him a place where he feels safe to be who he is, even if he's transitioning into, you know, different seasons of his life. I think a high quality woman is a woman who has her own purpose, because she understands that happiness and her purpose doesn't come from a man and a relationship. Even if she does want marriage, and even if she does want kids, because maybe that's a part of what keeps her happy and fulfilled, that's not her sole gain for only dating a man. And she's someone who to some level has some independence, not because she's trying to be like, I'm an independent woman, burn my bra, but rather because she understands that she has purpose outside of a relationship. And so therefore her purpose keeps her busy, which automatically creates chase in a relationship as well, which makes a man, you know, want to pursue her even more. So definitely having her own purpose and learning to affirm and validate a man for who he is. And I think one of the other major things that really makes a woman a high value woman is a woman who understands the power of teamwork, a woman who just doesn't expect a man to do all the effort, but she's someone who also steps in and says, hey, you know what, I know you're busy, I'll organize the next date. Or, you know what, I've got this bill, you know, and it is evident in her behavior as well that she is just as invested into the relationship as him. She's not just sitting back waiting for him to do everything because he's the man and she's the girl. You know, and I think that communicates that if she's able to be a team player in the beginning, then she has potential to be able to work together as a team when the going gets tough later on in a relationship, which it will. Even in the great relationships, you're still going to go through tough seasons. And a high value woman isn't just a woman that physically fulfills you. A high value woman is a woman who emotionally and mentally stimulates you and challenges you in such a way that you feel that your life is enhanced by her. Exactly. You know, that you feel that when you're with her, you're a man who can take on the world, or you're a man who feels nurtured. You're a man who actually feels love. You don't have to question that. And you know that she's encouraging you to be the best version of yourself, not because she's trying to change you, but because she sees your potential, loves you for who you are, and, you know, wants to do the journey of growth with you.
Mm-hmm, exactly. I love that. And also too, you know, in the beginning stages, I think it's really important to also note that, you know, a high value woman is going to reciprocate, right? She's not going to be that girl that's going to sit around and not call you.
Yeah.
And not text you if you had a wonderful date. She's going to appreciate you. And one of the key points that I always say is if you have an incredible date with a woman, typically a woman will text you that night and say, I had a wonderful time. Thank you for everything. And that's the first sign that you can start to progress in and start to really realize, okay, let me see these actions of a woman. And then she's going to ask you, you know, what are you doing this week? I would love to see you. She's going to be open with you. She's also going to talk to you about what her goals are, her values are, without hesitation, right? She's not going to say, I don't know what I want. I'm going through a lot right now. I don't think it's a relationship that I want. You know, this is where, you know, we shouldn't invest our time when we have a woman honestly being open with us. Right. But also too, I want to be honest too with some of the men. There are times where there is a lot of high value women and they communicate with the men that there's something, a key point missing, right? And this will take us into the next step. There's something, a key point that her body just isn't feeling, right? I hear this all the time. My body just doesn't feel it. My mind, my heart is just not there yet to just jump into a relationship with you, right? So this alludes to what a high value woman looks for. And one of the things that I've noticed too, and just in general, is a woman looks for a man, of course, the same with what we were saying, a man that is on purpose, a man that is driven in his life, a man that can understand how to be respectful, because you should always be respectful, not even to a woman, but to everybody. So we are observers as well as women. We observe how you respect the waiter. We observe how you
everything.
Hold the elevator door for somebody that's walking in. I observe if you walk out before me out of an elevator door. I'm sorry. It's just old fashioned traits that are inherent in me, right? And then they never give away. But at the same time, I respect a man because I feel like when he does that, that's such a dominant, like attractive thing because of the fact that it's like in my head as a woman, I'm like, all right, he's letting this woman out because of the fact that, you know, it kind of makes me feel safer. I don't know how I don't know how that programs in my mind, but it happens. But those are the things. And then also too, we look for a man that's on purpose and respectful, but also respectful in a way that he can be assertive with us. He can be direct. we liked a man that's a leader, right?
We want to be
Because
led. As women, we want to be led. It's a natural sort of instinct in us. And I think most men want to lead a woman. You know, they want to step into that role because it makes them feel more masculine. And that's the perfect balance. When a woman is, you know, able to step into her feminine energy and a man is able to step into his masculine energy, that's when two high value people are actually able to be compatible with each other as well.
Exactly. And that's the thing too, what we talk about friend zone all the time. And I have men calling me Apollonia, like I'm always getting into friend zone. And the biggest thing is they don't take the lead.
Yeah.
And then the feelings fade, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to be attentive, right? And go after what you want. And I talk about this a lot, is a lot of times I have so many great men that are so respectful, come from, you know, great roots, and they're embedded like in their mind that they have to respect women because that's how they were raised.
Yeah.
But they naturally have this in them, but they put so much focus on respecting the woman that they're dating that they don't initiate, that they don't make progress, that they don't make physical notions or to escalate their relationship sexually. So because they're still putting so much focus on, I have to respect her, that they're forgetting to take the lead. And this is how you end up in friend zone. So this is what we want as women. This is what we want. We want you to go after what you see in us. We want you to physically compliment us. We want you to grab our hands and slowly engage. If we engage in hand holding, then go down to our lower back. This is how you start taking the lead. And this is what we look for. What else would you say that we look for in regards to qualities of a man?
Yeah, I think we want to know that a man is actively listening. And it's not that we don't have like this massive list because we're trying to say that, you know, you men should do all of these things for us to even give you any sort of attention. We need to understand that there are certain things as a woman we are attracted to that makes us feel fulfilled and want to date a guy. And it's the same for you men out there. There are certain things about a woman that you are attracted to and you need in order to feel fulfilled, to continue to want to invest. So it's about understanding just what both parties need and then actively doing that. And you're going to get a positive response. And one of those things is, you know, not only being led by, but also showing that you're actively interested and listening to a woman. Now, active listening is basically, you know, asking questions, remembering things, and then maybe bringing it up later on during the date. For example, she might say that she's allergic to fish. You don't go and take her to a seafood restaurant, you know, or she might mention something at work. Next time you go and see her, you might say, oh, so how is that project going? For us, if you're able to be an active listener, it makes us feel valued. It makes us feel like we're a priority and that what we have to say actually matters. And it means that we'll probably end up saying less because we don't feel that we have to constantly keep repeating ourselves or trying to say something to work out whether or not we are a priority to you. And I think, you know, women, we crave the feeling of being safe as well. Not only safe in the context of from violence, or if we're in a room, we like to know that you're there by our side. If other men are looking at us, you can step into that protective mode. Again, it makes us feel really feminine, but also safe to be who we are in front of you. You know, safe to share our vulnerabilities, safe to maybe feel that we're not going to be compared to another woman that might walk past, you know, all these sort of elements where we as women are so emotionally intricate at times, even from the first date, regardless of whether we want it or not. And we want to know that if we show this vulnerable side to you, that you don't see it as needy or as a weakness, but you understand that it's just a part of who we are as females. And I think, you know, in any relationship, both people want to know that who they are is enough. And so if we can start to communicate that even subtly from the first date by simply complimenting her or simply giving her permission to say what it is that she wants to say, like by saying something like, I'm listening, or tell me more, then it means that we can relax around you. We feel safe in your company and we're able to open up and essentially start to build trust with you as well.
Exactly. I love that. And the emotional balance is because I say this in my, my ebook, my 7 common mistakes that men make when attracting a woman. And I say that the emotional connection is how a woman falls, right? Emotional connection is how we want you in every way, in a relationship, mentally, and physically. And when a man can master this, he will find the right woman. And I want to end it because I feel like I see this so much, and it hurts my heart that I have to engage and ask you this question, but what would you say to a man because I've already said it all, I feel like, but what would you say to a man that says there's no women like this out there? It's
Oh,
only you two.
that hurts my heart too. And I hear that all the time. What I say to my female clients when they say that to me is I said, okay, you're an incredible woman. You are this high value, awesome, beautiful person. And I affirm who they are. And I said, you believe that? And they're like, well, yeah, I know what I have to offer. So why wouldn't there be a male version of you out there? You know,
Oh, I love that.
same for you men. If you know who you are and you know your identity, you know what you have to offer. And I'm not talking you have to be an alpha male or a billionaire or anything like that. I'm talking about the fact that you know you bring value. Why wouldn't there be a female version of you out there also wanting to contribute or look for the same thing? It's just a matter about, again, if you continue to give your attention to people who are completely opposite of that, that's all you'll ever experience. And so this is why love education is probably why you're so passionate about this as well, is that we know the answer. You know, we've experienced the answer ourselves and we know the reality out there. And the reality is it's not based off your past experiences, no matter if you've only dated toxic women. The reality is there is currently 4 billion singles in the world. So half of them are women. So there are 2 billion women out there. Who's not to say that maybe even 40% of them are high value women ready to love a man and be loved by a man. It's just about what you give your attention to. And if you're not able to identify the difference between those two attentions, you'll always gravitate again to what your brain is familiar with.
Exactly. Okay, good. And then last question for you. What would you say to a man? And it hurts my heart again, but what would you say? These are the 2 common things I get to a man that says all women just want money.
Oh, yes, I hear that as well. And all women just want a tall man. That's another thing that I hear.
Oh gosh, I know. I used to date so many short men, by the way. I really didn't care.
It's
just not the truth. And I hope that just saying that shows people it's just not the truth. But also too, when it comes to tall men, so now I'm getting a little carried away, but I just want to keep this short. When it comes to that, when a woman specifically asks for just a tall guy, typically she's a little bit younger, she doesn't have, and also she doesn't really, her eye is not focused on that relationship, that deeper level relationship. So just, I want to put that out there.
That's a red flag right there. If she only wants your money. And I recently had a male text me, who sent me screenshots of the message of a girl he was dating, who basically up front said, why didn't you bring me back gifts? Why didn't you bring me back fur gloves? Are you the sort of boyfriend? And they'd only been on 2 dates. And she said to him, why aren't you the sort of boyfriend that brings me gifts? Are you that sort of person? I don't know if I can be with you if you don't, give me and look after me. And for me, I was just like, are you serious? There's women out there that are actually like this. Like, men aren't joking. And I think men need to understand that the whole money thing when it comes to women isn't necessarily about a woman wanting to take your money. For them, it's about a couple of things. It's about security. And I'm not talking about she needs to be financially secure. I'm talking about she needs to be secure knowing that you as the man who's the leader of the couple is able to provide physical, mental, emotional security. That you're not just going to be lazy and just let everything go. It's a sense of feeling safe, feeling protected. It's, a primal role where the man were the hunters and the woman was the nurturer. Back in the day when we had spears and arrows, we weren't going out and obviously doing things with money. It was, she needed to know she could be with a man who could provide. And providing back then was meat on the table, right? So it's still that sort of instinct built within us that we need to know we can be with a man who can provide for us. And I'm not necessarily talking about finance. I'm talking about security. Being able to protect that safety sort of haven. I think women appreciate a man who's able to take responsibility as well. And one of the simplest ways to show that you can take responsibility is by simply managing your finances. And I believe that a woman should be able to do that as well. I believe that, I had a guy on my YouTube channel comment the other day saying, I think there also needs to be an emphasis that women are able to be sensible with money, that they're not just going to be someone that marries a guy and ends up spending everything and mismanaging everything and getting them into debt. And I 100% agree with that. I believe that there are women out there who are lazy, self-entitled and gold diggers. And I have met women who've purely only married men for their money, unfortunately. But those men knew what they were getting into as well. So it has to be, you know, it's not about, again, labeling all women as the same. If you continue to label all women as gold diggers, or they only want to marry you for your money, then that's what you'll only ever experience, because that's what you're projecting and that's what you're sowing. So that's what you're going to reap and attract. It's about understanding the concept, the original concept behind the provision of a man providing for a woman, and then using that in a way where you're able to still have standards and boundaries to weed out, once again, who's actually in it for teamwork and who wants to contribute alongside you rather than just take from you.
Exactly. Yes, love that. Good. So I'm so happy that we did this video, Renne. Thank you for being on my channel. And for all you men that always ask me, like, why don't I even tell women what they need to know? Well, because of the fact that I only have a 3% audience that is women, and it's basically men on this channel. And that's why I brought Renne in, because I want to show you men out there that there is a coach that is also talking about this with women out there. So I'm going to put her YouTube channel for you women that are watching, or men also, to go to her YouTube channel that are interested in learning some of her advice that she talks about, that she gives to the women and her clients that are out there. She does have some products as well. So I'm going to put her website down below on the description link for the 3% of the women that I do have on my channel. But I know the men are going to be so happy that you joined me on this video, and I really, really appreciate you. So thank you, Renne.
No, my pleasure.
All right, everyone. I'm so happy that you joined. Me and Renne will keep an eye on the comments. And Renne, will you help me with some of the comments? Because I'm sure some of the men will want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, guys. So we'll see you again in the next video. And remember, you are always loved. Bye for now.